Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. Many of you know that I like to ask and discuss the question, other than Jesus, who is your favorite Bible character and why? I think it's wonderful to listen and learn as we recount the Bible stories and how they speak to our lives. And the reason I bring that up is because my favorite is the person we will consider today, Barnabas. This week we're looking at people in the book of Acts and how the Holy Spirit acted through them. And if ever there was anyone in the Holy Spirit that the Holy Spirit acted through, I believe it was Barnabas. The first time we encounter him is in Acts 5, as the very, very early church is struggling to get established. Barnabas sells a field and gives all the money to support the church. The next time we see Barnabas is when Paul has converted and has become a believer. Because he had been persecuting the church and arresting followers of Jesus, no one was willing to take the risk to meet with Paul and see if his conversion was genuine or whether it was a trick to ferret out believers for more persecution. But Barnabas did, meeting with Paul and talking about and teaching him about Jesus. The third time we encounter Barnabas, he's going on the first missionary journey with Paul, taking the gospel into Gentile territory. But they weren't alone. A young man named John Mark was with them, and on the first stop in Crete, for some reason, John Mark wanted to go home, and he did. Perhaps he was ill, or perhaps only homesick. However, when it came time for the second missionary journey, John Mark wanted to go along again, and Paul flatly refused. He wasn't going to take a quitter with him again. Barnabas, however, stood up in compassion and understanding for John Mark, and the disagreement became so heated that Paul and Barnabas parted ways after that. So why is Barnabas my favorite? Well, let me unpack some of the outcomes of what Barnabas did at the leading of the Holy Spirit. Barnabas's name means son of encouragement. And when I look at what he did, it was indeed about encouraging others in the faith. First, the early church was struggling, and it was Barnabas who encouraged them all through his generous gift, paving the way for the church to have a future. Second, this son of encouragement met with and encouraged Paul in his belief, and it was Paul, then, who undertook the mission to the Gentiles, spread Christianity to most of the known world, likely even preached to Caesar himself, and who wrote a good bit of what we now call the New Testament in his letters to the churches he had founded all over Asia Minor. Finally, when Paul wrote off John Mark, Barnabas encouraged and supported him, and many biblical scholars believe this John Mark later wrote the Gospel of Mark, the first written account of the story of Jesus, and the gospel that served as a foundation for the Gospels written by Matthew and Luke. So in some ways, while he didn't write any of it, the encouragement Barnabas gave seems to have resulted in helping the whole church to get established, the spread of the gospel far beyond Israel, 3 written gospels, and all the letters of Paul. Talk about an act of the Holy Spirit. Wow. May we be thankful for the work of the Holy Spirit in the people of encouragement in our lives. And may the Holy Spirit act in us to be Barnabases in the lives of others. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.